Hi guys, today we're going to look at how to draw a shoehorn or any shape, I suppose, similar to that using the surface feature. So you can see here the shape of it there using our surface feature. I'm going to open a new part in Solidworks and we'll just get straight into that today. So just to observe that the main thing for today we need to learn is how to draw a shape using the surface feature. Alright, I'm going to start off in the front plane here, draw a sketch, and I'm going to use the Spline tab here. Alright, I'm going to start from the origin. I'm just going 3 or 4 points there of a spline, and I'll just give rough dimensions on those. We'll say the overall length. I'm going to go 100. Just the height of these as well, I'll just bring it down a tad, I think. Smart dimension. Bring that down to 12. And that guy maybe down to 6. Okay, as I said, the dimensions aren't too critical as of now, but you know, it's totally up to yourself as regards dimensions, what way you want to go with them. Okay, so just going to get rid of those out of the way for now. Sorry. Right, so starting off there, we have our spline basically drawn on the front plane, as you can see there. Okay, so next thing I want to do is to actually create a surface from that spline. So I'm just kind of turning an angle there to see it. So what I want to do is go into my surfaces tab here on the top. Now, if it doesn't appear there, if you just right click on any of these guys, you can tick surfaces there or check any of these titles or tabs that you want to be open every time you open SolidWorks. Okay, when you have surfaces open, we want to extrude that sketch here of the spline into an actual surface. Okay, so I'm going to extrude that into a surface, as you see there. Now, as you see it there, by default, it's just coming forward from that front plane. So I, as a matter of fact, wanted in this case to go both sides of my sketch line. So I'm just going to change the direction here from blind over to mid plane, and you see the change that made. It goes both directions from my front plane. Okay, I'm just going to up the dimensions of that now roughly to 30. Doesn't matter too much now. Excuse me, as long as it's wider, I suppose, or wide enough for what I want. Alright, so next thing I want to do, you see I have a surface here with no thickness. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to draw on the top surface the outer shape of the actual shoehorn that I require. Alright, so for this I'm going to sketch, first of all, I'm just going to draw a center line down the middle of that there on the top plane. Okay, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm just going to draw a line here. Now, you don't have to do this, but just sometimes I find it handy to do that so I can find my actual midpoint here. Alright, so I'm going to draw an ellipse now on the top plane, and I'm going to come across till I latch onto the center point of that line. You see now why I did it. So I'm just going to stretch that out the length of my shoehorn, and as regards the width of it here, that's entirely up to yourself. Alright, so the width of that there is as it is. I'm just going to change that back, sorry, to get the suitable size that I want. Okay, so do you know what, I'm just going to leave it at that size for now. It doesn't really matter as of yet. Okay, and I'm going to accept that sketch. So basically what you see there is a sketch of an ellipse on the top plane and my actual surface, as you see here. So I want to in fact keep, when you look down on top of that, I want to keep all of this area within that ellipse on the actual surface. Okay, so what I need to do here is to not go into trim entries on my sketch tab, but I need to go into my surfaces tab and I want to trim the surface. Alright, over to the left here you have trim types. Okay, I'm going to leave that on standard. Trim tool is automatically 2 here, which is my actual ellipse. And you see down here, keep selections or remove selections. You can take whichever one of those you want, but keep in mind you have to pick the correct surface according to what you want to keep or remove. So I'm going to leave it on keep selections. I'm going to select this surface inside the ellipse rather than that part outside of it. Okay, I'm going to get that selected, and I'm going to accept that. So you can see there that when I click on that, that'll go away. You can see basically what I have there now is my surface trimmed to the required shape with, of course, no thickness as of yet. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I am going to thicken that surface to give it a bit of thickness. Okay, so I'm just going to, again, within the surfaces tab, I'm going to select here over towards the middle of the screen. I'm going to select thicken. Okay, again on your left here, it's asking me what I want to thicken, basically your thicken parameters. I'm going to select that surface. You can see by default it's automatically set there at 10 millimeters. Now I'm going to change that to maybe 1.5. Okay, these little guys here on the left, you can select that to thicken down from the surface, to thicken up from the surface, or to thicken on the center as you see it there. Alright, so just for now I'm going to select the center and I'm going to accept that as regards to thickness. Now it looks quite thick there as it is, because I suppose it's so a small product, but that thickness there is, again, and if you just want to check that to edit it, is the thickness of 1.5 millimeters. You know, I might even change that to 1 millimeter to make it that bit thinner. Okay, so what I have there now is my surface thickened and so on. Okay, so that's how you create your surface, first of all, to the required shape. Okay, and then go in, as we said, to thicken it. Now, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to come down from my top plane again, and I'm going to cut a little hole here, like I suppose you'd see if you wanted to attach it to a key ring or whatever the case may be. Okay, I'm going to sketch, and I'm going to stick with the ellipse. Again, on the left hand side here, a little message box, what surface you want to sketch on. I'm going to sketch on my top surface, and I'm going to come in here a little bit, sketch a little ellipse there. And again, the size is totally up to yourself. Just obviously make sure it's appropriate for the actual product itself. Okay, so I'm simply, for this, I'm going to go into features, extrude a cut for that right up through it. Now you can see here it's pointing down in this direction, but that's an easy fix. You click here, direction 1, just reverse direction. Blind here, there's different settings here depending on the depth you want to cut through and so on. I'm just going to go through all, so that's basically going to cut through everything that's on screen in front of me. Alright, so there you go. So now you see there's a little hole cut through it there for that. Alright, so I have I suppose the bases or the main body of it there selected. So up here you can see solid bodies 1. Alright, so that's the main body of the shoehorn. Alright, so just to kind of dress that up a bit, you might want to put your fillets and so on top of it. I'm just going to select my edges here, my outer edges. Now sometimes you can select the whole surface, and sometimes you might just want to select the actual edges separately. Okay, in this case I don't select the surface because it'll try and fillet these guys as well, which I don't particularly want to do. So just the front and back there, as you see. I want to select thickness here. Remember, I selected a thickness of 1.5, so I'm just going to go for this, I'm going to go half that, 0.75 as the radius, and hopefully we should get a nice fillet on that, or might be able to select this guy and accept it. That puts a nice curve right around the whole body of it. And you notice it didn't fillet this guy in here because I don't particularly want to. Alright, so as regards that there, if you want to come up into this fella here, the display style, it changes your style basically as you're looking at it. So I can get rid of the lines on that, for example. I can do it as a line drawing. I can do it as a line drawing showing the hidden detail. And this is here in SolidWorks for anything basically you're drawing. You see that box up there, so you can chop and change that as you please. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I am going to do a sketch on the top plane. Sorry, I'm going to put a reference first of all, a reference plane. So if I go into features, over here to reference, I'm going to reference a plane. Now the reason I'm doing this is I want to etch a sketch on this, my name or whatever it is you'd want to put on, for example, just to show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to select here, it's asking me what's my reference. I'm going to reference the top plane, and I'm going to bring it here in my depth, my dimensions, just bring it so it's actually off the surface of the body itself, as long as it's above that, and accept that. What that does now is it gives me a platform here in which I can put my text or whatever it is I want on it to etch into the edge of the shoehorn. Okay, so I'm going to go along here up to sketch. I'm going to go into my text here, it's a little a here, so text, and I'm going to look in at 90 degrees to this guy. Okay, so hit your spacebar, look down on top of that. Alright, so over here I'm just going to put in whatever it is you want in this shoehorn, or your name, or whatever you fancy. Okay, I'm going to put in my shoehorn. Doesn't really matter, it's up to yourself. So you can see the positioning of it here, not in the right position, but as I select different areas, you can see that changes. Okay, for your font when you're writing on text, if you want to change a font size or style, you deselect this use document font here. Okay, deselect that, click on font, and this gives you all your different dimensions and so on that you may want to work with. Okay, so highlight there, change your size. If you want to change your text, for example, you can change your text style, regular, bold, whatever it is you want. You can play around with that and get your settings. Okay, so again, you can see the size of this here is slightly too big for mine. I'm just going to go back in. I had my text at 10. I'm going to change the font size to 8 just to bring that down in size, and I'm just going to bring it over a tad more there to the end. Now you can put center lines in and so on here for this to line it up if you want, so I'm not too fussed about that for now. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to put an extrude cut from that text through the body of the actual shoehorn. So if I go up here into features, extrude cut, just have to wait for that there to do its thing. Okay, so over here on the left you have your different selections. Now sometimes you may have to play around with this for it to extrude cut. So what I want to actually do here is to extrude a cut through it all. Now there are several things here that may cause trouble. The text font or style, for example, like noted before, has prevented it from working. So there are different things that you may have to with it to ensure that that works. I'm just waiting for it here. As you can see here, it's not working through all, so just going to go up to vertex. Here I'm selecting my surface, and again hopefully this setting does it. Sorry, Solidworks has gone slow here for some reason. Sorry guys, running into a few problems there, but with SolidWorks freezing and so on. basically what I did there while I was waiting was I changed the text here as well. The text style that I had chosen wasn't allowing me to do what I wanted to do, which was to cut right through the shoehorn itself. So I just change it here to your standard Comic Sans style. Okay, so what I want to do now is features, extrude a cut right through the object. You can see it's already here poking through it. So different settings here, blind, you can set a depth or go through all, and regardless what's on its way, it's going to cut through it. Alright, so I'm just going to accept that. And up here it's asking me bodies to keep. You want to keep all bodies or selected bodies or whatever the case may be. So you can select random bits here, there, separate little bodies, or just select all bodies and click OK, which is what I want. And I'm just going to right click and hide that plane there. So you can see it's basically cut the name My Shoehorn right through the entire shoehorn. Okay, so that's how you can add text on it as well. Now that, keep in mind, is one way to do it. There are other ways that you can do that as well. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to add a little appearance to this. So you can go into your plastic, metals, paints, rubbers, whatever it is you want. I'm just going to select a plastic here, and I will go for might go for a blue plastic this time. So you can select basically whatever you want, and you can just notice here the center circle of the part, or the O on shoehorn, is grayed out. So just look through these different icons here. Do you want it on the body, on the part, on the thicken, whatever the case may be. So you can color that as you please. Just look through those here. I'm going to do the whole thing in blue for this particular one. Alright, so all in all, I suppose that's your shoehorn complete there, if you want to leave it at that. But there's one more thing I want to show you before we finish up, is how to put a little, I suppose, a sleeve or a surface knit on it. So you can see here on the end of it, you'd often see like the little cover you get on your key, the rubber plastic covers you get on them. I'll just show you here how you could do that on this particular guy. Alright, so if I go back into surfaces, and what I want to do is to knit a surface. So I'm going to click knit surface. Now over here it's asked me to select the surfaces I want to knit, so your selections. I'm going to select the body of that guy. I'm just going to show you here before I do that, just to note up here you have solid bodies 4. So 1, the little inserts here to the letters 2, 3 and 4. So you have 4 solid bodies as of now. Alright, so I'm selecting the entire object there. I may have to select all my fillets and so on. You see them there, the color changing as I select them. So it just depends again how you do that. I'm just going to select the fillets as well on both sides of my shoehorn. Okay, so there you see it. I'm going to knit that and I'm going to accept it. Alright, so you'll see up here now, this has now changed from solid bodies 4, and I also have 1 surface body. Now, so what that means basically is put a skin right over the total, the shoehorn itself, put a skin over the whole lot with, I suppose, 0 thickness. Okay, how will I see that if it's done right? If you come up here, right click on solid bodies, click on that eye to hide it, you'll see it takes out the middle of that. So you can kind of look through it there, the middle is gone and you're basically left with a shell following the exact shape. Okay, so what I want now, I just want this top part of that for my shoehorn. So I'm going to do a sketch. You could probably do this from your top plane or do it from your side, just depends what way you try to do. So I'm going to do it maybe from the front plane. I'm going to look in at a right angle to my front plane. I'm going to draw a sketch here. I'm going to use the line feature just to kind of come perpendicular to this angle here. Alright, now keep in mind I have a little hole here, I don't want to cut through that either, so I'm just going to go roughly up here. Of course this can be edited, doesn't necessarily have to be square as long as it covers the area that you want. So you can see I have sketched that there on the front plane. What I want to do now basically is go into features, extrude a cut, and I want to do that from mid plane first of all, so it goes in both directions. From mid plane, so it goes in both directions. And you can see here, if I cut that, it'll cut out probably the part that I actually want. So if you flip side out, select it here, it cuts everything, as you can see the arrow there, outside that shape that I have drawn. Okay, so I'm going to accept that. Sorry, I'm not actually working. I'll just check and see what the story is with that. Try that again. No, not happening. Just bear with me for 1 minute. I'm going to delete that sketch again. So what I'm going to actually do here, I'm having trouble there with that for a minute. I'm going to try and sketch on the top plane. I'm going to draw a circle here, and I'm going to go into surfaces this time. I'm going to trim surfaces and keep selections. So this is the selection I want to keep, and I think, yeah, if I just select that, yeah, that gets rid of the other one. Now I was having trouble there because I wasn't actually in surfaces, I was in features trying to cut that, and that's why it wouldn't work. So into surfaces and trim surface there, as you see. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to give that a bit of thickness, and we'll give it a millimeter, and I want to thicken it this time from the outside. Okay, because remember it's fitting on over the other guy. So I want to thicken it from the outside. I didn't select the surface here. I want to thicken this surface from the, not the inside, from the outside, a thickness of 1 millimeter. And again, you can fill it then the edges of that guy that you want to fill it. Okay, so I'm just going to select those. Again, remember it's important to select the edges rather than the surface itself. So make sure you zoom in right in there, get the actual edges you want. So you may not want the inner edges here on this particular guy, but just be cautious of that you're not selecting the wrong ones. Okay. There, so again I go 0.75 there, hopefully that'll do the fillets without any problems. No, just going to change it down to 0.5 radius. Because of the shape of it, sometimes that can cause problems. So again I go down to 0.2 even. No, not doing that. So look, not going to waste much time on that. I'm going to forget about that fillet, but you can fillet those edges. It's probably because of the shape of it here. It's just not allowing that. Okay. Why can't you see the rest of it? Because if you remember back here in solid bodies, now they've taken that, it's turned another body. I'm just going to show all of the bodies in this case, and you'll see that little cover there if you want, or whatever you'd like to call it on the end of it. Now you could also alter the color on that if you want, and go back into maybe a rubber for that, matte rubber for example, and change the color on that guy. So there you go, that's my shoehorn complete. And again, don't forget to file, save as, whatever it is you're calling it. And again, wherever you are saving it, I'm just going to save it here on my desktop. just going to save that as blue because I have two different colors done. Going to save that, and again you can go in and set that in a scene. It might be nice. So up there in your appearances, just above that, you'll see scenes. You can bring in a nice scene there in the drop down arrow, basic scene for example, and select them as you please. Okay, but sometimes it can give a nice feature. And again, last thing here, render tools. You can go into your render tools, Solidworks add-ins there, photo view 360 into your render tools, and you can do a final render as well for that, to get your pictures and so on. So you see a final render here, and that should render it for you then to get your photo views and so on for your models. Okay, so just going to get rid of that, sorry. Sorry, I hit render region rather than final render. You'll see that rendering where you can save it then as a file for your images and so on. So this may take a couple of seconds, depends on your laptop, and as I said, my one tonight seems to be going that bit slower for some reason. So you can save that in your own time. You'll just come down here to save image. Sorry, that's because I had selected a region initially, so just want to make that a bit bigger and get the shadow and all in there. Back into the final render. Sorry, I meant to save that, guys. Final render. When your render comes up, you'll see save preview image. I'm just waiting for that. Save preview image, and you can come down here as well and save. Save that preview test, and you can come down here, save your image as you please as a JPEG. So my shoehorn, and I'm going to go blue. And again, just for clarity, that'll save as a JPEG into your folder, and you have that there when you want it. Okay, so I hope you found that useful, guys. You know, give us a shout if you want any other tutorials on SolidWorks, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks a million.